样子。
这个绿皮和黄皮好像味道差不多，一样的。
这个黄皮更甜一点。
And speaking of the Silk Road, back then, those melons, they are the sweetest treat for the merchants. Good morning everyone, welcome back. We are now driving in the city of Zhangye, and in front of us that's the bell tower, the old bell tower. We planned to leave early today as always, but we didn't manage to get up early as always. When we woke up, it was already almost 11 a.m. We pulled over because we saw a very, for me, it was a strange figure in the beginning, a statue of a Western figure. But then when we got close, I saw it's written Marco Polo there. So that's a statue of Marco Polo, the famous Venetian merchant who have covered the entire length of the Silk Road.
Apparently Marco Polo has lived here for a year, and that's why they built this statue for him. And the plan for the next 3 days is to go until Dunhuang, which is roughly 600 kilometers from here. We also got our bike fixed. Look at this, a new nice plastic box that's much lighter than the metal box before. So hopefully this time it's not gonna break.
And now we are going to a place where Marco Polo had visited and also had mentioned in his travels. So this Buddha is the one that mentioned by Marco Polo in his book. This temple was built in Xixia in the 11th century. And in the book, Marco Polo wrote that by then Zhangye was called Ganzhou Kambuchu. And he wrote that this Buddha is incredibly big, about 40 feet long, and he rests his head on a pillow. And it's covered in gold. You can still see the golden paintings. Marco Polo was in Ganzhou in Yuan Dynasty, and he even noted that there are many idolaters in the city. So those idolaters refers to religious people, including the Buddhists, Muslim, and even Christians. He even wrote in a book that there are 3 churches in the city. But now, you know, as the time passes by due to the war, nobody knows where those 3 churches are. Zhangye, the city name, was given by Emperor Wu of Han, meaning extending the arm of the empire to support the western regions. Starting in the Han Dynasty with Zhangqi's journey to the west, the passage between the central plains and the western regions was truly opened, linking the eastern end of the Silk Road to the rest of the world. Leaving Zhangye, we followed the Heishui River westward. Dark clouds rolled in, heavy and low.
Now we managed to escape this black cloud that's over there. So this is towards Zhangye, and this is further west towards Jiayuguan, where we're gonna go later. And what you can see here is Heishui, the black river, the black water river, and it's actually the major lifeline of the whole Hexi Corridor. Without this river, this area would be very dry. If you go 20 kilometers this way, you would see Gobi Desert. It's very close. If you go 20 kilometers this way, you would see Chilean mountains. That's where this river actually emerges from. This river is also one of the main tributaries of these lakes that we have seen in Badain Jaran Desert, where we've been in the last episode.
The Heishui River is little known, but it has shaped both geography and history. It sustains the oasis belt, making agriculture possible in an otherwise barren desert. As we moved forward, the green faded. We re-entered the desert. Every few kilometers, we passed the remains of ancient ramparts, Ming Dynasty walls, part of the same Great Wall system as Beijing's. Oh, that is actually a part of the Ming Great Wall. Further ahead, we reached Jiuquan. Jiuquan was once called Suzhou, and Zhangye used to be called Ganzhou. The name of Gansu Province comes from these two ancient cities in the Hexi Corridor. And then we rode into fields of blooming sunflowers. In the distance, we saw Jiayuguan, the westernmost gate of the Ming Great Wall. Here we are, finally in Jiayuguan. We're trying to walk closer to a fortress in Jiayuguan, and Jiayuguan is the narrowest point on Hexi Corridor. It sits in between the desert and the Qimyan mountain range, which is somewhere in that direction. Wow, the sunflower! Wow! Wow! Wow, this is a beautiful walk. And over there, look, it's agriculture drone. I feel like there is no way that we can get closer to that fortress. So we decided to go here through this beautiful sunflower field. And look over there, there is the agriculture drone, a big drone. Can you hear it? That is a fortress about 1 kilometer away. The reason we want to go there is that it's the westernmost of the Ming Great Wall. But Great Wall doesn't end here because there is also Han Great Wall, which you can find in today's Xinjiang. But anyway, it has a very important position here. And interestingly, I didn't see anything in Marco Polo's travel about Jiayuguan because Jiayuguan was built in Ming Dynasty, so that is a dynasty after Yuan Dynasty. So while Marco Polo was here, there isn't so much in Jiayuguan. According to the gazetteer of Suzhou, all envoys and trade missions to the western regions had to pass through Jiayuguan. This narrow stripe of green was the only viable corridor for caravans and diplomats. Beyond Jiayuguan, the Silk Road split. The northern route led to Hami and on to the Tianshan, while the southern route passed through Dunhuang and Lowland, eventually reaching Persia and India. To bypass Jiayuguan meant crossing endless Gobi to the north, or climbing the uninhabited Qilian Mountains to the south. carrying over 3,500 meters in altitude. Both were deadly paths, chosen only in desperation. From Jiayuguan, we drove towards Guazhou. Here, the meltwater from the Qilian mountain spreads like a green ribbon through the desert. The fields bloom with flowers, and the air is sweet with melons and fruit. I just got off the bike, and we're on the way to Guazhou. And on our way, we see a long stretch of green oasis with lots of small villages, and the fields are absolutely beautiful. So here, the air while driving, it smells like fennels. And we stopped. It turned out to be the fennel field, 小茴香. Look. And this one is a 蜀葵 flower. Beautiful. And here, I don't know what that is, but look, it's beautiful. The next city, Guazhou, a city of melons. After Suzhou, Ganzhou, and now we're in Guazhou, and the next destination is Shazhou, which is Dunhuang. And now we are walking in one of the market here, and the air smells like melon. So you can see that there are so many melons. And actually, Guazhou means a land of melons. This place is extremely famous for its high quality melons. This place is really a paradise for fruits. So look at the peaches, and this is the famous Li Guangxing, the apricot, which is extremely sweet. The grapes, tomatoes, plums. 银记白兰瓜。
这是我们统制的。
谢谢。
这个是哈密瓜吗？
对。
这是黑瓜
，OK， 这是
这是
黑瓜。
黄的，
它也是。
这是白的，这是老汉瓜。
这个就是那个里面软软的，就是
对，
是那个。
哇，这个老汉瓜多少钱
？4块钱。
4块钱。
这个3块钱，这个2块5。
2块5。
这个都是现摘的，你看爸新鲜的瓜的时候啊。我们自己种的。
我们自个种的。
这老板人长得不怎么样，品种可多了。
要一个哦。
好，
这个瓜是我们这边特色。
我觉得我昨天晚上吃过了。
这个甜不甜？
好吃。
这个可以，
甜，
可以发快递啊，这个夸很夸。
我喜欢很甜的东西。
很甜的东西啊。
对。
就是这些瓜就是属于这个瓜最甜了。
There are so many different melons. This is 老汉瓜, the old guy or grandpa's melon, because it's super soft inside and super sweet. And those melon, although they look different, they told me they taste almost the same. It's hard
你是从
inside.
哪里的？
我是德国的。
德国的。
对。
It has more of a crispy taste.
它跟那个当地。
然后瓜州的，就是 瓜，
瓜比较甜。
那老板，你说中国哪个地方的瓜最好吃呀？
那就是瓜州的瓜最好。
瓜州的。
瓜州是个小县城嘛，肯定一般人都不知道嘛。
这个地方就是昼夜温差大的好，所以种出来瓜果比较好吃。
对。
昼夜温差要相差20度呢。
哦，就是白天和晚上。
哎，对。白天你先穿短袖，晚上得穿个外套。所以我们这地方是瓜果好吃。
西瓜多少钱一斤？
西瓜8毛钱。
8毛钱。
这么便宜来着？哇！
一颗就烂了。啊。一颗就成这样了，一颗就烂。啊。所以我们瓜皮薄得很。
对。
瓜皮特别薄。
哦，瓜皮特别薄。
对。
我们这边西瓜也好吃的很，西瓜不耐运输。
对。
就是新疆的瓜，它瓜皮厚一点，耐运输。我们这边不耐运输，都是薄皮瓜。
There's so many different melons, and the watermelon here is 8毛钱一斤, which means about 10 cents US dollars half kilo. So it's 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents per kilo. We put one melon in the back and 2 melons in the front. Today I also got a warning from the weather app saying that the temperature will reach 40 degrees, so that's why I got this. We both got the sleeves, and Polo also got a scarf. I hope we can survive the ride. After Guazhou, soon we left the oasis and entered the desert again. And sometimes nearby this national road, there are melon stands. 谢谢。
刚才也没带子呀，给你一件。
谢谢。这个绿皮和黄皮好像味道差不多，一样的。
这个黄皮更甜一点。
哦，黄。We're also going to cut one of the melon we bought from the market. It's called Bailangua, and when it comes to Guazhou, the most famous is Guazhou Migua, and it refers to this melon, which is different from this honey melon. It looks like jade. It's green inside. Wow, it's much sweeter than the honey melon we had, and it's very soft. There is also a special fragrance that comes with the melon. Wow, it's really, really good. And speaking of the Silk Road, back then, those melons, they are the sweetest treat for the merchants, for the caravans who pass through this stretch of the Silk Road.
Caravans.
Okay, caravans. The melons are the sweetest treat for the caravans.
还跑跑。
走走走。哇，
有点热。
这个座椅简直烫屁股。Beyond Guazhou lies Dunhuang, once known as Shazhou, a city of sand. This was the last oasis before the Silk Road caravans left the central plains and entered the heart of the desert. Oh, the road is stopped. What happened? On the map there is a road. On the map there is another road that goes away to somewhere in the sand dune, but while driving here, that's the end. It is blocked. I guess there used to be a bridge or a crossing from there to here, but this one is blocked now, so you can't get through. In Marco Polo's travel, Dunhuang was called Shazhou, which is a folk name, which means the oasis by the sand dunes, and that sand dune is just ahead of us. And this river is called Dunhuang, which feeds all the green oases nearby. And the water came from the Qilian mountain range, which is about a few hundred kilometers behind those sandy desert. And today most people came to Dunhuang to see the famous Mogao Grotto, which is a very important Buddhist grotto built over 1,000 years ago. And back then, during the era of overland Silk Road, the merchants, Persian merchants and Sogdian merchants, founded those grottos to pray for a safe journey. They also left a lot of grottos along the way. But filming and photo taking is not allowed in a grotto, so I cannot show you, but I highly recommend that you go there. And speaking of Shazhou, it's also the ending point of Hexi Corridor. So in the past, when the caravans came here, they need to get enough water, enough food before they can cross the vast desert and reach western region, which is today's Xinjiang. And I also read that Marco Polo actually came along the southern edge of Taklamagan through Qiemoa, Ruoqiang, Luobupo, and Nanshazhou. But in between the last station of Xinjiang to Shazhou, it's a big desert that is perhaps over 600 or 700 kilometers. There is no water in between, no oasis. So back then it must be an incredibly hard journey. And that's also the desert that we will experience tomorrow. And I hope we can survive.